Hey friends, thanks so much for being here. I'm so excited that you've taken the opportunity to join me either here live on the viewing platform of your choice or that you're following up with the recording to have a quick chat about what are the 3 steps for successful morning routines. Now, let's just break this down a little bit. Now, lots of people have lots of things to say in books, in articles, in podcasts, in programs, you name it, about morning routines. So there's so much information out there about it. And if you do a little searching, you'll notice that there are so many other people searching again for like the best morning routine or the most successful morning routine. And I just like to kind of think about it for a moment, like what does even successful actually even mean to someone? Have we even really thought about that? Are we doing morning routines just because we think we should, or are we doing them based on what other people say we should do, sort of thing? Well, I'm here to kind of give you some steps in to help your morning routine, however it is that your morning routine is, to help you become more successful. All right. So in my own experience, like my own morning routine has been indispensable in helping me continue to grow and continue to be more on purpose year after year after year. And let's just talk about routines first of all. Like, what is a routine? So a routine is exactly that. It's a routine. It's something that we do predictably each time, time and time again. And there's a part of our brain, there's a system in our brain called the default mode network. And that's the part of our brain that basically helps us follow routines. It's our subconscious or unconscious processing centers. It just go ahead and it just kind of helps us to kind of keep getting more of what we want during the day. And routines are a really powerful day to help prepare ourselves for the day that we want to have. Because here's the first really important point you want to get. If we don't prioritize our own day, then someone else will. Let's just think about that for a second. We each have an opportunity to prioritize our own day. And if we don't decide what is priority for us, then nature abhors a vacuum. Someone else will put something in the space that we are leaving for prioritization. So morning routines are a great way to get us to prioritize our own day. Hey, Michael Sullivan, thanks so much for, we're bringing the steps. Here they are. So the first step to a successful morning routine is actually a successful evening routine. That's the very first step. So how do you actually set up a great evening routine as you're preparing to go to bed? There's a couple of quick tips here just from neuroscience. So first of these you've probably maybe even heard before. Number 1, blue light. It's like screens, these kinds of things, your phones, your laptops, they put off blue light, right? And so what we know is that if we're looking at these screens, blue light, between like an hour and 2 hours before going to bed, in other words, we need to shut the screens down 2 hours, at that latest 1 hour before going to bed at night. Because what blue light does, it's on the spectrum of light that actually mimics daylight, and it confuses our retinal sensors and our circadian rhythm. Blue light actually wakes us up. It doesn't help us go to sleep. So looking at our screens late at night will actually activate the neural centers to wake us up more. So that's something we really want to pay attention to for an evening routine. You also have to consider, are you kind of doing things or looking at your phone or social media that's emotionally activating for you in your evening time close to bed? Again, think about this 2-hour kind of ramp down towards bedtime. And it doesn't have to mean like 2 hours before you shut everything down, but you have to kind of start slowing it down at about 2 hours. I think about it in terms of landing the plane for the day. Think about screens, those blue lights, things that are emotionally activating for you. The more you can start to subdue those things, the closer to bed. Now, you may have kids, you may have other people in the house that you live with that are emotionally activating enough. Adding on other social media stuff to that could be problematic for us in terms of getting ready for bedtime. Other simple things. Think about warmth as we get closer to bedtime. Warm bed, warm shower, warm bath, warm blanket, something like that to begin to kind of calm the nervous system down to help prepare us for sleep. And my favorite things to do as an evening routine are some somatic practices that help relax the body and help release tension. So what are somatic practices? Well, these are the things we teach in our core centering practitioner certification training. They're things like using self-massage practices, mindful movement practices, breathwork practices, and meditation practices specific in the evening to help the nervous system wind down. So you want to do somatic, because there are somatic practices that wake the system up, But in the evening time, we want to do practices specifically to help wind down. In our programs, we teach specific acupressure points on the body that help the body to begin wind down, quiet down, move it towards sleep. So you want to have some type of somatic practices in place in the evening, and that could be right close to bed. Within 20 minutes or 10 minutes before actually getting into bed, doing those somatic practices really help the body to settle down. So the first step to a successful morning routine is a successful evening routine. Make sure you get that. Okay, step 2. Every successful morning routine starts with a good night's sleep. So the evening routine gets us into a really good night's sleep. So how are we going to create a good night's sleep? Now, some of these things you may have already considered. Maybe you're doing some of these things already, but think about stuff like this. So what research tells us is that room temperature for sleeping, ideally between like 65 and 68 degrees. Now, if you get a little chilly, like that's where blankets come in, where then you can start to kind of modulate how much heat you have. But we know a cooler room sleeping temp is usually better to get us into our sleep, where we circulate through about 4 or 5 kind of cycles of sleep, going from light to REM to deep and then back to light again. So we want to make sure that we are going through as many of those cycles as possible. White noise or delta waves at night, doing like eye mask, headphones kind of combinations to help us stay in deep sleep can be really, really helpful. Here's a cool tip. Side sleeping is more effective for what we call cerebral spinal flow and glial flushing. So in your brain, there are what we call glial cells. The glial cells are the connector cells between the neurons that fire throughout the brain and bring electrical signals throughout the brain. The glial cells also kind of act as healing cells for the other nervous system. And when we lie on our side, we actually get better flushing of those glial cells. And when those glial cells are flushed, it brings away toxins, waste products, and those sorts of things from the neural tissue. So, hey, side sleeping, if you can, is a little better for cerebrospinal flow and healing. Just a cool tip for you. Okay, what are we looking at for adults? You guys know 7 to 9 hours of continuous sleep. And here's the thing, consistency with going to bed at the same time and waking up at the same time is really important. That actually helps you to lock in your circadian rhythm and get that really good night's sleep. Okay, now a couple other things. Going back to the idea with blue lights for a second. As you're sleeping at night, really important to have a super dark room. Eye mask is great. Block out all the light. If you get up to go to pee in the middle of the night or get up in the middle of the night, what you want to make sure you're not doing is turning on the lights. Again, when you flip on the bright lights in the middle of the night, between 10 p.m. and 4 a.m. specifically, will decrease your levels of melatonin, which will make it difficult for you to get to sleep again. And also, during the day, continue on for the day, it actually decreases and affects your dopamine levels, so that you're more likely to feel fatigued as the day goes on with less motivation. Dopamine is totally linked into motivation, so we want to make sure that we have really positive and healthy dopamine levels as we work during the day. And the thing is, with lights in the middle of the night will actually make it difficult for dopamine to upregulate itself later on. So middle of the night, red light better than blue light. So if you have a night light on or something, use a red light in that, super helpful. Now, also, if you wake up in the middle of the night, you can't get back to bed, what I love to pull in are, again, those somatic practices. These somatic practices that are focused on things like body scanning, slow nostril breathing, especially through your left nostril, can be really helpful in settling the body back down. We know in the middle of the night, sometimes you wake up at 3 a.m., your mind is going crazy, all the thinking is going on, you're doing problem solving, maybe there's something that happened during the day that you just can't let go of. This is where those somatic practices that come back in specifically with body-centered awareness. Now, we don't want to do something that wakes the system up. We want to do something that brings our awareness into a different part of our body than the thought rumination that's going on like crazy. So middle of the night, somatic practices, again, like a really great body scan and some of that slow nostril breathing can be really, really helpful in getting back to sleep. Okay, third step in a successful morning routine is setting up your successful morning routine in a certain way. So in terms of success for the day going forward, because that's really what the morning routine is for, isn't it? It's to help us have a successful day, a successful week, a successful life, a successful year, whatever it is, however we want to think about that. And my first thought is, what is the intention that we're setting for the day? Like, why do you want to do a morning routine? Like, what are you hoping is going to help you have more, do more, or be of more specifically. And that's where that intention comes in. So as soon as we get up, really important, just coming back to the light again, we want to get sunlight in our eyes as soon as we can in the morning. That activates that dopamine system and starts to wake us up and get us ready for the day. Make sure we drink a lot of water in the morning, just good full glass of water to support our circulation, help that detoxification, that glial flushing, all that kind of stuff to get toxins moving out of the system, super important. Now, when we think about routine, it's more than just like a meditation practice. It's more than just a yoga practice in the morning. Whole morning routine is like everything from the moment we open our eyes to the moment we are in an unfamiliar or a new work task sort of thing. So oftentimes our morning routine is a couple hours long if you think about it, because we get up and then we'll go to use the bathroom, and then we'll brush our teeth, and then we'll get a glass of water, and then we'll maybe put on our morning clothes or something like that. Every step of that way is something we do every single morning. And so the idea here is to become very, very mindful of what we're doing every single day. Being mindful as we're brushing, not mindless as we're brushing our teeth, but very mindful as we're brushing our teeth. Really pay attention to what we're doing. The routine stuff that we do, bring more mindfulness and attention to it. That's really important for gaining more capacity and control to set powerful intentions for the day, is to bring in that mindfulness. Okay, now, when I think about a morning routine, when it comes to practices to do in the morning, which is what most people think about. Most people think about, what's the practice I'm going to do in the morning? Well, practice is a part of my morning routine. It's a part of the morning routine. But again, I've already said that a lot of the morning routine is like even how I get out of bed in the morning, how I feel my feet on the floor, how I feel my body moving to the bathroom, how I feel myself brushing my teeth. So that's all really important. How I feel myself eating breakfast or getting my cup of coffee or whatever it happens to be. But let's dial in now on the practice itself, which is what most people think that the morning routine is. Hopefully what we're highlighting here is a morning routine is more than just about this part of it. But this part of it, there's some really important things you want to know about this. The most powerful and successful morning practices, let's say, are complete somatic practices. And complete somatic practices are practices that activate all parts of the brain. We want to activate the brain stem. We want to activate the limbic system, and we want to activate the neocortex. Now, the brain stem has to do with our body reflexes. And how do you feel in the morning? Oftentimes we feel tight, we feel stiff, we feel sore, our muscles feel short, sort of thing, right? Joints get kind of dried up and stiff at night. Like our muscular skeletal system doesn't always feel just like ready to jump out of bed in the morning. So part of what we want to do for our morning routine is doing somatic practices that specifically address the body directly to slowly warm it up, rehydrate it, lengthen it. And by doing that, we are resetting the muscle spindles, which are the stretch receptors in the muscles. And we're also resetting the Golgi tendon organs, which are the receptors around the tendons and the joints as well. So that once we get moving during the day, we move in more healthy ways and less likely to experience pain or to hurt ourselves. So we want to kind of bring somatic practices in initially that are about warming and lengthening, softening, and stretching. So that's kind of the first practices we do are around those sorts of somatic practices we do around has that kind of theme to it, okay? Next, we want to make sure we bring in our limbic system. Now, our limbic brain is not just about the emotions, okay? It's also about our metabolic function. It's about our two sides of our autonomic nervous system, really. That sympathetic nervous system or the parasympathetic nervous system, okay? Now, depending on how good your night routine went, your evening routine, and your sleep routine, you may wake up feeling really refreshed, and you may wake up still being tired. Now, if you are chronically tired in the morning, then no morning routine is going to save you from that. That has something to do with your evening routine and your sleep. So we need to back the train up and really focus on that evening routine, late afternoon, evening, and sleep so that you actually wake up not being chronically tired, sort of thing. So again, no morning routine is going to save you from being chronically tired. Morning routines are really there to help us amplify and accentuate our life and our intentions. Now, transient tiredness, that can be supported with, again, somatic practices, specifically benefiting the limbic system. We're talking about acupressure, we're talking about movement, we're talking about breath practice, certain breath practices to wake up the limbic system and to activate the metabolism. So back up for a second. Somatic practice is first to lengthen, soften, and warm the body. And then we bring in somatic practice that's kind of like turn the key on the ignition, start waking the ignition up a little bit. That's how we're activating that limbic brain. And then finally, we bring the neocortex online. This is all three parts of the brain: brainstem, limbic system, neocortex. Neocortex is about meaning and purpose. So this is where we bring in that intention. Once we've warmed, lengthened, stretched the body, once we've turned on the limbic system and we've got the metabolism activated, this is where we bring in the mind and the intention, because our intentions will project into the day, right? This is going to bring us forward as we go in there. So what do we want to be focused on? Like, do we want to be focused? Do we want to feel organized? Do we want to feel more self-aware? Do we want to be able to make better decisions? Now, each one, you might say yes, 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 and yes, but each one of these things has a different intention energy along with it. So, and this is the space we kind of bring in and say, hey, my intention for today is to be, let's say, productive. My intention today is to be focused. Or my intention today is to be, to listen more. Or my intention today is fill in the blank. And when we set that intention in the morning on top of a brainstem that has been lengthened, softened, and relaxed, and on top of a limbic system where the ignition has been turned on it, and now it's running at an optimal level, not too high, not too slow. And then we plug our intention there of one thing that we want to actually engage with the day. That's what we will bring forward with us into the day. Now, when we set intentions, we want to be as clear as possible. And we also want to focus on the body sensations in our body that support the intention. So when we're setting the intention, if we say, my intention today is to be more productive, then reference the body. Where do I feel the sensations in my body that are associated with feeling more productive? And we want to bring those in with some mindfulness, coming back to the mindfulness, activating those sensations and allowing those sensations then to pair with the intention to go into the day. So whatever intention that we're setting, you'll also notice that there are body sensations that go right along with it, that match it. So as a part of our morning routine, match up our sensory experience, match up our intentional experience, put those things together and bring us in to a powerful day, all set up by a powerful morning routine that was set up by a powerful sleep routine that was set up by a really amazing evening routine. So those are the 3 steps to having successful morning routines and carrying you forward into your life. I hope that you enjoyed these. Please comment below. Please share with friends. Let us know how you're doing with this and let us know if this helped you. All right. Thanks, everybody. See you soon. Bye.